Tonight, a CNN exclusive, former Playboy playmate Karen McDougal finally breaking her silence on this alleged affair of hers with Donald Trump. CNN's Anderson Cooper interviewing her. McDougal claims she had this 10-month affair with Trump starting back in 2006. The White House has said Trump denies this alleged affair. McDougal is suing the National Enquirer's parent company, which is controlled by a man by the name of David Pecker, a friend and supporter of President Trump's. McDougal claims this catch-and-kill technique was used to protect Trump and prevent her story from ever appearing in the tabloid. So I have Maxine Page with me today. She is a former executive editor for American Media Inc. That is the National Enquirer's parent company and Radar Online, who can speak to this catch and kill. So Maxine, thank you so much for being with me. And for people not in your world, walk me through, how does catch and kill work?
You can get accidental catch and kill, and you can get intentional. So, we can get a story and we can run it through our legal team, and then we'll run it at the last minute. We'll run it to the celebrities or the person of interest's lawyer, and they'll come back and they'll say, look, this is damaging to my client, and basically kill it. So it can happen that way. Or you can intentionally go after someone that you know is shopping a story around, or you've heard rumors about. You can get them, you can meet with them, you can basically coerce them into signing a contract with you because you promise them you're going to run the story and tell their side of things. And then when it comes down to it, they sign the contract, which means they can't sell it anywhere else. And then you just kill the story. So the story conveniently disappears.
So on the shopping it around piece, in this particular case with Karen McDougal, at the time you knew she was out, she was shopping her story around a while ago. How were her efforts received back then?
Well, back then, you've got to realize it was very different because she was basically shopping around a story of having an affair with Donald Trump, who, for all intents and purposes, along as being like a New York billionaire, was basically the host of a reality TV show. So, the serious news channels and the serious newspapers would have no interest in that story. It's tabloid fodder. Now, AMI, though, David Pecker has a long documented friendship that spans back a long, long time, decades, I would say, with Donald Trump. So he wasn't going to buy that story. And I'm sure there would have been, at the time, a reporter that met with her and basically told her, it's not really a story, don't bother. And then obviously when Trump became president, then suddenly there was a big value for reputable news sites as well.
How much money is typically paid to someone for his or her story, the life story rights agreement?
It can completely depend on the story, obviously, but it's less than people often think it is. I mean, I think McDougal was paid $150,000 in total, which you'd think would be much greater. But you've got to realize that tabloid reporters and editors are we're kind of like trained in how to negotiate people down and how to limit their expectations and to tell them your story is just not worth that much. And there's a lot of coercive tactics that are used to basically persuade someone to sign with you for as little money as you can get away with, basically.
So do you think the $150,000 isn't actually a lot?
I don't think it is. Do you? I mean, I would imagine that her life is pretty much ruined. As much as she's, people are accusing her of like cashing in and, doing these interviews and stuff. She's being trolled nonstop, I would imagine. She's being called like a liar by a lot of people. She's being slut-shamed by people. It's not easy to go public with a story like that. It's really not. I've seen the effects. She's being doorstepped by, reporters and photographers. That's not fun. And I would want more than 150 grand.
Yeah. How often, just last question, how often in your years did or even does this happen with celebrities, right? When they're buddies with someone powerful, high up at a publication, as is the allegation with David Pecker and his buddy Donald Trump with this Playmate story?
It's common practice. It's more common practice than people would assume.
Common practice.
I would say so. That said, it's also common practice in Europe. Like the British newspapers have been known to do it as well. That said, I worked for the Mail Online in the USA, and I also worked for Bauer Publishing, and I never knew them do that ever on a single story. So as far as I'm aware, AMI definitely have done the practice, and as I said, more often than you would think.
Wow. Maxine Page, 150,000, not a lot. I'm still sitting on that. Thank you so much for your perspective, and also just for everyone watching. Do not miss Anderson's interview, his exclusive interview with Karen McDougal, who we were talking about, the Playmate, who says she had a consensual affair with Donald Trump years ago. The White House says it never happened. That airs tonight, 8 o'clock, right here on CNN.